Here we go. 51. Nuntiatur, passive. It was announced, Afriano, dative to Afrianus, Magnos Commodus, that great supplies of provisions, which hababanting a iter, which were having a journey ad Caesar to Caesar, had constidesed ad flumen, had halted or stopped at the river. Venerant, plural. So they came, eo there, Sagittari, these are archers from the Rutini, these are people, Equites, these are the cavalry, Excalia from Gaul, with Multus Carus, these are wagon cart things, and Magnus Impedimentus, and much baggage, Utfert Gallica consueto, as the Gallic custom as fert as they bring according to their custom. Erant, there were, praeteria, the adverb, besides, cuis generis hominum, looks like a triple genitive, of the types of men, Kirkada, around 6,000. So there were, besides around 6,000 different types of men, cum their service, qui and liberis, their slaves and free men. There's a footnote in the Loeb about liberis. The Loeb has that as children, but Hotterman substituted freedman. As you know, liberis of freemen and children look pretty similar. Said nullus ordo, but there was no order. Nullum curtum imperium, no certain line of power or command. And cum suo quisque, and so quisque is each one, suo concilio was utoring. Utor takes the ablative, so that's why concilio and suo and the ablative. So each one, quisque, was using utor, the opponent, their own plans, and omnes, referring to people, all these people were sine timor, without fear, facuranting the iter. Itor's neuter, making the journey, using the licentia, which is like the freedom or something like that, of superior times, of the earlier times, the time beforehand, and of the earlier iterums and the earlier journeys. Erant, there were complures honesti adolescents. Now the third declensions go es, and the second declension goes I for plurals. So there are many adolescents, and this is like they have an honourable sort of line of birth or respected. Filii, plural, of senators, the sons of senators, and also the filii of ordines equestris, of the equestrian orders. Where are we? Erant legiones, legationes civatum. There were legates, delegates of citizens or the cities. There were the legati Caesaris, and there was the legates or the ambassadors or embassies of Caesar. Hos omnes, this is accusative. Flumina, the neuter plural. So the rivers were continabanting these all. So the rivers contained them all, or hemming them all in. As hos opprimendos, this is the gerundive, to these, for the crushing of these, literally, for the crushing of them, with omne equitatu, with all these cavalry, qui, and tribus legions, and with 3 legions, Afrianus, the nominative, de nocte, during the night, he profiscated, he set out, imprudensque ante missus equitibus aggreditor. So here he is, he's attacked them, he's anti means in front, so he is missus, he is sent out in front, he's equitibus, he's cavalry, and imprudentes means it was unexpected. Celerator, adverb, so quickly, say, themselves, tamen nevertheless, or still or yet, the Galli equities, the horsemen from Gaul, the cavalry from Gaul, quickly expediented, means they unencumbered themselves and committed themselves, prolium, to battle, accusative. Ei, They, pronoun. Dum, while they were able to gerai, they were able to wage or conduct this matter, parai, with an equal contest. A magnum numerum hostium, a great number, genitive of hostiums, of the enemy, nominative, the porci, which is the same as this, these people. A few amount were able to sustain themselves or endure a magnum numerum hostium. Said, but, ubi, when, signa, the standards, legionum of the legions, coeperant, taking the infinitive, began to propinquare, to come close, ablative absolute, with a few losses, say themselves in proximus montes conferret. So they conferred themselves into the nearby mountains. Well, they took themselves there. Hoc pugne tempus. So this time, pugne are fighting, atulated or brought. This at is actually ad gets turned into a double T. So brought to magnum momentum. This is a neuter, so it brought great momentum or influence. Ad salutum to the safety nostris, to our safety. So in this time where they were fighting, remember they only had a few porcus misses, they only had a few losses, brought nostris to ours, great safety. Okay, so I've set the daily dictionary. Momentum, momenti, gender neuter, second declension. Top 2,000 words for you to know. Impulse, effort, moment, influence. So this is important. An influence was a great effort. Motion, movement. Where were we? Nacti, enum. For this obtained, this is the supine plural, for this obtained aspartium, another neuter, of recaperunting themselves, of taking themselves into a locus superior. This is a higher place, a higher ground. So the time, the spartium, the space that it took up in the tempus, in the time, allowed them to go to a higher ground. Desiderato sunt, so wanted, desired, or missed, eodia, on that day, Sagittare Circada 200. So the losses for that day were around 200 of the archers, and the equites, cavalry, porci, few. Colonum and impedimentorum, non magnus numerus. So it's not a great number, genitive, of the camp followers, and impedimentor, of the baggage. Though one of the authors has suggested pack animals. Usna is his name. 52. Here's omnibus. With all this, Tarman, nevertheless, the annona crevated. Annona comes from the yearly grain supply. It's used for provisions and grain. So the price crevated, increased. Quae, which, ferry, this is firme, again almost, in this res, in this matter, non solum, not only in the present anopia, the present lack of grain, sed etiam, but even the future temporis, but even of future times, in gravescries, means that grows heavier with fear, customarily conservate. So the price of the grain increased, which happens not only by present inopia, but even they're guessing that the future time there will be this, and because of the increase of fear, also it customarily causes it to grow, to increase the price. Yamqui, and now 2 denarios, HS is sesterces, what text was wrong, and now 40 sesterces of denarius, so there's obviously a difference here in the text. One has 40 sesterces, and the other one, what did it have? Anyway, whatever it was, in a single modius, so a single measure, the annona, the grain price had pervenerated, had reached. And the vires militum, the strength of the man, had diminuerated, had diminished, due to the inopia frumenta, the lack of their grain, and the inconvenience, the incommodience was auger battering, crevat, and auger bending as synonyms, was increasing in dies. This is a little phrase, prepositional phrase or something, means from day to day. Et ita, and so thus or so, porcus debus, ablative. So, in a few days, magna facta. Facta can mean a great deed, or there was, in fact, there was a great commutatia, a great change of rerum, of matters, of circumstances. And Fortuna had inclinavited se. And so fortune had inclined itself, or bent or leaned, so that nostri, our men, with a magna and opia of necessarium rerums, genitive, our people had a great lack of necessary things, conflictor renta, so they were afflicted with great inopia, so that'd be ablative. And illi, they, the other people, had abundant omnibus rebus in all things. And haberitor, they were considered superior advantage, superior in the circumstance. Not much to go today. Caesar, eos civitatus, some of those communities, quae which, ad eos amiticam cesserent, they had come to him, to the friendship of him, ad amic, this is the accusative, eos is the genitive. So those communities or cities or whatever they were that had come over to his friendship, and he imperabated their pecus, their flocks. So he ordered their flocks. There's a little clause here, quod minor erat copia frumenti, which had a minor copia, a quantity of grain as well. So he's ordered the flocks, and he demitabated, if you want to hunt for the verb. He sent these calones, these camp followers, to Longuinacores civitates, to the further awayest communities. That's comparative. Ipse means Caesar himself, this guy here. The presentem in opium, quibus poterat subsidius tudibator. So he was safeguarding and looking over, that's a second declension deponent. He was looking over the present lack of food with whatever subsidies or whatever help or auxiliaries, poterat, he was able to. And that's it for the day.